They told us electric cars were the future. But what if that future was already here, hidden in plain sight? What if your ordinary car could power itself? No charging stations, no gas, no limits. In today's video, we uncover the secret behind self-powered car conversions. The innovation U.S. drivers were never meant to know. Because while the world debates EV ranges and charging times, a handful of engineers have quietly unlocked something that could end refueling forever. To understand how we got here, we need to look back to a series of experiments that started far away from Silicon Valley. In small workshops across Africa and Eastern Europe, inventors began tinkering with a radical idea. What if the car could recycle its own energy endlessly? They weren't just building electric cars. They were building closed-loop energy systems, machines that generate and reuse power internally. One name that kept surfacing in engineering circles was Maxwell Chikumbutso, the Zimbabwean inventor behind a self-charging electric vehicle that stunned even industry veterans. But while the media quickly buried the story, independent researchers kept digging, and what they found changed everything. At the heart of the self-powered car conversion lies a simple but brilliant principle: energy regeneration without external input. Imagine combining three technologies: regenerative drive systems that recover kinetic energy, advanced electromagnetic generators, and ultra-efficient battery management systems capable of rechanneling power with near-zero loss. Together, they create a feedback loop where energy lost during motion is instantly captured, amplified, and reused. It's not science fiction. It's science that industry giants are racing to replicate. Yet, these conversion kits, often small enough to fit in a briefcase, remain mostly unseen in the U.S. market, hidden behind patents, legal barriers, and quiet lobbying efforts from oil and automotive groups. Because the implications are massive that a self-powered car doesn't just threaten gas stations, it threatens the entire energy economy. In 2024, several American engineers attempted to register their conversion prototypes, only to face regulatory delays and testing complications. Yet, leaked lab results show that some of these designs produce continuous power outputs exceeding 90% efficiency. Still, the mainstream auto industry remains silent. Outside the U.S., however, the race has already begun. China is rumored to be testing self-regenerative propulsion modules for its next generation of EVs. Meanwhile, startups in Kenya, South Africa, and India are developing home-based retrofit kits that can convert a standard car into a self-powered vehicle within days. Even Tesla insiders have reportedly shown interest, but whether it's admiration or competition remains a mystery. This global scramble isn't just about mobility. It's about energy independence. Whoever perfects this technology first won't just lead the auto industry. They'll reshape civilization's power grid. What happens when technology outpaces regulation? The answer might lie in the growing underground movement of engineers experimenting with DIY self-powered car conversions, quietly building what the corporations won't. It's to give you the freedom to drive, endlessly, without ever plugging in or paying at the pump again. The road ahead is changing, not in the boardrooms of automakers, but in the garages of dreamers. And as these hidden innovations continue to surface, one thing becomes clear: the age of self-powered mobility has already begun. The question is, when will America finally listen? Behind closed doors, an unconventional movement is rising. A network of engineers, mechanics, and independent inventors quietly sharing blueprints and test results through encrypted forums. They call it Project Phoenix, a symbolic rebirth of the automobile, free from corporate control. Members claim to have successfully converted hybrid and even combustion vehicles into self-sustaining electric machines, using a combination of electromagnetic amplifiers and micro-turbine generators. One leaked video, now scrubbed from most major platforms, appeared to show a converted sedan running continuously for over 48 hours without a battery recharge. But energy experts who reviewed the clip say the readings were inconsistent with any known power source. At the heart of this breakthrough lies what physicists refer to as resonant field amplification, a process where oscillating electromagnetic fields feed back into each other, amplifying small amount of energy. It's not perpetual motion. It's efficiency beyond conventional limits. Think of it as energy resonance, similar to how sound waves can shatter glass when they hit the right frequency. In these systems, energy doesn't disappear. It echoes, bouncing through coiled capacitors and magnetic rings until it becomes reusable power. Some prototypes integrate nanomagnetic converters, materials capable of redirecting lost heat and friction back into electrical flow. It's the merging of physics and imagination, the kind of innovation that rarely escapes a lab without raising alarms in corporate boardrooms. Whenever disruptive technology emerges, it's not science that decides its fate, it's money. Documents obtained by investigative journalists hint at energy sector lobbying groups pushing for stricter conversion bans under the guise of vehicle safety. Meanwhile, several U.S. research startups that once experimented with regenerative propulsion have gone dark, their websites deactivated, and their patents quietly acquired by shell corporations. Tracing the trail leads to the same familiar names, conglomerates with deep ties to fuel distribution and battery manufacturing. If cars no longer need fuel or frequent charging, entire economies collapse. And those who built their empires on energy dependency will fight to the last spark to keep it that way. In late 2025, a former engineer from a Midwest energy lab, known publicly only as Eli, leaked internal reports showing that several prototypes had achieved sustained self-powering cycles exceeding 72 hours under controlled conditions. Eli claimed that the data was suppressed because it posed a threat to national energy security. But the real reason, he said, was far simpler: profit protection. Before vanishing from public view, he left one haunting line in his final online post: "The technology works. The question is, who gets to use it first?" Since then, small workshops across the U.S. have begun experimenting quietly, sharing just enough information to stay below the radar. Across the ocean, the shift is accelerating. In Nairobi, local engineers have begun building solar-assisted regenerative modules, affordable kits designed to retrofit existing cars. In China's Pearl River Delta, experimental vehicles have been spotted running test loops powered by internal flux generators. And in Germany, reports suggest that certain automotive research institutes are testing self-charging fleets, vehicles that could run for months before acquiring external input. The race isn't just technological anymore, it's geopolitical. Whoever controls this technology first won't just lead the auto market. They'll redefine global energy trade. Imagine a world where oil tankers rust in ports, where nations no longer fight for fuel reserves, where power, quite literally, comes from within. But insiders whisper that Elon Musk himself requested a private report on the demonstration. Meanwhile, Ford and GM stocks dipped as investors scrambled to understand what this meant for the future of the industry. It wasn't just a car anymore. It was a threat to the entire global energy model. 3 days later, the Delta Syndicate's booth at the expo was gone. The car gone. The engineers unreachable. Their website wiped clean. All that remained were fragments of the live stream, re-uploaded by users across YouTube, TikTok, and encrypted platforms. In one clip, before the feed cut, a man in a gray jacket could be heard saying, "They're here. Shut it down." Rumors spread that the vehicle had been confiscated under a national security order. Officially, there was no record of any seizure. Unofficially, security footage from nearby cameras showed unmarked transport trucks leaving the expo compound at 2:47 a.m. Weeks later, an anonymous hacker group known as Grid Zero claimed to have retrieved encrypted blueprints from the Delta Syndicate's cloud drives. They released fragments of the files to the dark web, schematics, magnetic coil layouts, and power loop diagrams labeled L-Drive Resonator. Within days, dozens of independent researchers replicated the data, building their own experimental versions in secret workshops. One of them, a physics professor from Oregon, went public in a late-night podcast. The design is genius. It's not infinite energy. It's efficient recycling of what we already waste. They didn't break physics. They optimized it. The leak had started something no corporation could stop. A grassroots revolution in automotive engineering. As the story spread, energy and automotive conglomerates launched a coordinated counteroffensive. Media outlets suddenly ran debunking segments calling the tech a hoax or dangerous pseudoscience. Influencers and experts were paid to discredit the demonstrations. Government agencies quietly issued warnings about unverified energy devices. But behind the curtain, leaked emails revealed a deeper agenda. a multi-billion-dollar effort to suppress, absorb, or delay the release of any open-source self-powering design. Still, the information was out. The public had seen too much. For every post deleted, 10 new videos appeared. For every voice silenced, another engineer stepped forward. It wasn't just about a car anymore. It was about who controls power itself. Weeks after Nevada demonstration, Elon Musk broke his silence during a live Q&A session. A viewer asked, "Elon, what do you think of the self-powered car shown in Nevada?" He paused, smiled slightly, and replied, "If it's real, it changes everything. But if it's real, someone's going to have a problem with it." That comment alone sent shockwaves through the industry. Tesla's R&D division quietly increased hiring in electromagnetic regenerative propulsion. Patent filings tripled within a month. Whether Musk planned to collaborate, compete, or control the technology, no one knew. But one thing was certain. The silence was over. The race had begun. As governments scrambled to contain the chaos, nations began taking sides. China announced its own infinite mobility research program. Kenya and Nigeria launched open innovation hubs for regenerative energy. And Europe, under pressure from automakers, demanded stricter verification before unregulated conversions could hit the streets. But while global powers debated, small labs kept building. From Detroit to Johannesburg, from Berlin to Shenzhen, prototypes were emerging faster than they could be shut down. For the first time in modern history, the energy revolution wasn't led by corporations or governments, but by the people themselves. And deep beneath the surface, whispers grew louder. Project Liberty might have vanished, but its creators hadn't stopped. Months passed. The chaos settled, the headlines faded, and the story of the impossible car began to vanish from mainstream memory. By late 2027, the world no longer ran on oil, electricity, or lithium. It ran on resonance. Communities became self-sustaining. Cars recharged themselves. Power wasn't a commodity anymore. It was a right. But the victory came with new challenges. Some regions experienced blackouts due to unstable experimental generators. Others suffered from counterfeit kits, causing accidents and fires. A global council, the Alliance for Responsible Energy Freedom, was formed to establish safety standards. Ironically, the man who first doubted it, Elon Musk, joined the council, offering to create a regulated open-source framework for liberty-based systems. His statement echoed worldwide. If you can't stop a revolution, guide it. And just like that, what began as an underground experiment became the foundation of a new world economy. Then, out of nowhere, a message appeared on the Alliance's official channel, signed with familiar insignia, Delta. You finally caught up, but we're not done yet. A new video followed, showing a concept never seen before. A self-propelled spacecraft prototype, powered by an evolved Liberty resonator. It wasn't just about cars anymore. It was about breaking gravity itself. Project Liberty's creators had gone beyond the roads. It began as a rebellion in a Nevada garage, and now it was rewriting humanity's destiny among the stars. The Delta Syndicate's final transmission revealed a sleek, silver craft, hovering silently above a desert test site. No thrusters, no fuel tanks, no solar arrays, just a pulsing core of blue-white energy. The evolved Liberty resonator, humming with self-sustained power. The voice returned, calm, resolute. We started with a car, but our mission was never just about driving. It was about freedom, in every sense of the word. And as the craft lifted higher, clouds swirling beneath it, the world below watched live. Governments paused their broadcasts. Corporations froze their campaigns. Billions of people, from city towers to remote villages, witnessed a single moment that silenced centuries of control. For the first time in human history, energy had no master. In the years that followed, the Liberty Principle reshaped civilization. Every vehicle became self-sustaining, every home generated its own power. No more oil wars. No more grid collapses. No more monopoly over motion. The phrase energy bill faded from language, replaced by a new term whispered with reverence: autonomy. Children born in the new era would grow up never knowing a world that ran out of fuel. And historians will look back on 2026 not as a year of chaos, but as the dawn of a new humanity, a civilization powered not by resources but by intelligence. Years later, a final encrypted broadcast surfaced on the original Project Liberty network. It contained no schematics, no warnings, just a short message signed by the same symbol. Delta, energy belongs to everyone. The future is not powered by machines. It's powered by those brave enough to imagine them. And with that, the transmission faded, never to be heard again. But their legacy endured in every street, every home, every horizon where power flowed freely. The hum of the Liberty core became the new heartbeat of civilization. From Earth to orbit, from air taxis to lunar colonies, everything moved, sustained by the same spark that began in a single garage. We called it a car once. Now, it's the reason we never stop moving. Project Liberty, the power within.